The regular Eveleth City Council meeting scheduled for July 1st, 7 p.m. will now come to order. Roll call.
Councillor Peterson. Here. Councillor Koivunen.
Here.
Councillor Lillis.
Here.
Councillor Hadrava.
Here.
Mayor Vysalovich.
Here. Approval of minutes of City Council workshop meeting June 3rd and approval of City Council meeting June 3rd. I need a motion to approve of minutes of both these items.
So moved.
Motion made by Peterson. Do I have support? Support. Support by Koivunen. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item D, approval of agenda.
I'll make that motion, Mayor, with the removal of J3 and J9.
Okay.
For further discussion.
Anyone else have any corrections or addition to that? Then I'll ask for approval of tonight's agenda with those changes.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Hadrava. Do I have a support?
Support.
Support by Lillis. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We have no appointments or presentations at this point. And at this time, we'll allow anyone from the audience want to address the council for a 5-minute period. Otherwise, I will open up the meeting at the end of our business for any participation or comments anyone would have. Anyone from the council like to address, anyone from the audience like to address the council before we move on? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Approval of payroll, March 16th through the 31st. Approval of payroll, June 5th, June 1st through the 15th. Approval of claims for June, except 2013 annual audit. We have the 2014 land licenses in the Ellis location. Ambulance service, mutual aid agreement with Hoyt Lakes, and a revised pay equity report. And we have travel request, assistant wastewater treatment plant operator to attend a tech seminar in Brainerd on August 12th through the 14th. Any questions on anything in the consent agenda? If not, I'd call for a motion that we accept it as printed.
So moved.
Motion made by Koivunen. Do I have support?
Support.
Support by Peterson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. At this point, I will suspend the regular council meeting so we can open a public hearing on these proposed assessments for the 2010 Grant Park Avenue Capital Improvement Project. At this time, I would like to open the public hearing on that and open the floor to anyone who wants to address the council or engineering staff on the assessments.
I'd like to ask the council, we received a letter and we received a letter for the improvements and that, and I was just wondering, are we going to get a chance to make payments, or is this going to be all due at one time?
No, Jackie will explain that to you.
If the council adopts the assessment rule, city staff will send out an invoice, and you have a couple choices. You can pay that invoice in full to us within 30 days. If you choose not to pay it, then in late November, we will certify it to the county, tell them we're going to charge you 3.5% interest, and tell them to apportion it over 20 years. So if you can pay in full, one-time chance, or we assess it with the county, it goes on your taxes.
Nothing in between that?
Yes, so let's say, let's say you decide you want to pay it off after we put it on your taxes, okay? We at any time can take your money. Or if you sell your house, you can pay it off. But you want to know if you can pay us half now, half later? Half now, assess half?
Yeah, I just want to know what kind of options we're going to be.
So
Not everybody could afford what they're.
I know. So my understanding of the state law, and maybe John Colosimo, if I'm incorrect, you can tell me, is that my understanding is that you get the opportunity to pay it in full?
Okay. And there's nothing.
I mean, I don't have a problem taking a partial payment, but I believe the law says.
Well, would it be credited towards it if you come in and specify, I'd like to pay $200 towards this, or?
So after we certify it to the county at the end of November of this year, it shows up on your property taxes.
Okay.
So it'll be a special line that's a special assessment. Then you'd pay it when you make your property tax payment. But if you get like a property tax refund and you get $1,000, you can either send it to the county, or we're obligated also under the law to take payment from you and then call the county and let them know where you received your payment.
Okay, let me ask you that was just improvements for the front on Grant Street, right? This has nothing to do with, we've got holes in the alleys. We've got holes in the alleys that's been there for 20 years. And I was just wondering if there's any possibility of getting any kind of patching done.
I think Mike's gonna try to grab the mic and respond to that.
Could you repeat the question?
Well, I'm assuming that this charge is for just the front.
Just Grant Avenue, and it's
Right.
just for the storm sewer on Grant Avenue.
Okay. The
This,
alleys.
is this Central Court or the alley on the other side?
Well, it's across from the nursing home. The alley
Oh,
is first
okay.
up, if you're going up east across.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, no, this was not for any of that alley. That, I'll make a note, and we'll make sure when we get some blacktop that we get in there. Yeah.
Okay, because there's like 2 or 3, it would be
Sure.
appreciated, because they are
Okay.
deep and get bad. And
Okay.
I moved here 2.5 years ago, and I've been coming up here since 1990, and I like it up here. And there's a lot of great people, and there's a lot of hardworking people, and it's just that some people are setting budgets, and I wasn't sure. My wife got that letter, and she was all upset, thinking that, you know, she's got to pay it all in one lump sum. So what you're saying is if she gets her property tax next year and pays it then, yes, it'll be 3.5% on there, but that's fine, but as long as then there'll be no repercussion or no.
Right. The law says that anytime you as a taxpayer can pay off your special assessment, because a lot of times people pay them off when they sell their house, because the new person doesn't want to take that on. And the law also says that at any time, me as the clerk or my staff, we have to take payment from you too. And then we call the county. They don't particularly like that, but we do it anyway.
Okay, that was the main thing because she was upset, lost sleep. Oh. All right then, you know, thank you very much, and that's all I really wanted to know, but thank you.
Well, if you got any other concerns, just call staff here or some of
Okay.
us.
I
We're
will.
more than happy to help you out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jackie, just to clarify now, my understanding before, if this is gonna be over 20 years, say if I was being assessed and in year 8, I decided, I'm gonna pay off the balance, I could then come in and pay the balance at that time for the remaining portion?
Yeah, that's my understanding. I'm looking at Stephanie to see if she says yay or nay, but that's my understanding of the law, that we at any time, as the clerk treasurer, have to take payment, and then, you know, then we call the county and tell them, they don't like it, but we do it because that's what the law says.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just mention one thing, just so people understand, in the city's assessment policy, it states that the city can assess 40% for street improvements, 40% for storm sewer. Water, sanitary sewer lines, and they were replaced on Grant Avenue, there is no assessment. Now, in this case, this was a county state aid highway funded project. So the council decided at the proposed assessment hearing back in, I think it was January of 2010, that in this case, since the CASA program paid for surface improvements, street improvements, that they would not assess. However, the city was responsible for 45% of storm sewer costs. So the council at that time decided to assess 40%.
Anyone else have any questions on the assessments on Grant Avenue project? If not, then I will close the public hearing and reconvene with the city council meeting. We'll move on. We have no unfinished business. Okay, under new business, J1, resolution adopting assessment for 2010 Grant Avenue, Park Avenue Street reconstruction.
So moved.
Motion made by Peterson. Do I have support?
Well, since it's costing me my share, I'm gonna support it.
Support by Hadrava? You know, you're really a team player here. I like that, Brad.
Well, I feel everybody's pain on that block, I can tell you that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2, reconsider motion to evict Dr. Draper from city-owned clinic. As we talked about last time, we're setting up a meeting. We're trying to coincide our schedules. I've had some trouble, but it looks like next week we should be able to connect. Because when Dr. Draper was available, I wasn't available, and vice versa, but we are, working on that, so. I would just prefer that we take no action and just move on with that. I think you're available next week too, Brian, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 3, we took off the agenda. Item J4, letter from Rosella Potocnik, 806 Jones Street, regarding property located at 804 Jones Street. Do we have any representatives of the properties here? Or Rosella, I know you're here. Anybody from 804 Jones Street? Well, I think, how long has that been, Tim, since that fire occurred?
The end of October of 13.
Okay, you've had some contact?
Yes, Mayor. In fact, I had spoken to one of the parties today. They indicated that they had been working with the insurance. They were in the process of getting the asbestos testing done, and they were looking to get that done before they were going to be contacting, I believe we had some contact with the city.
So some months ago, I had a conversation with the owners, and I gave them a packet to apply for the IRRB demo program. I have not received that back yet. I do have 3 houses now that need demoing, including that Jones Street house. So that means I can make another application to the IRRB, okay, to start over again, but they need to return the application to me. And then Attorney Colosimo had called me and reminded me that there's a state statute out there that says that if a property is, you know, burned or otherwise destroyed, that the insurance company has to remit to the local municipality 25% for me to hold in escrow until they clean up the site. Well, I read the statute a little bit further and did some more research, and it indicates that the city will have had to have passed a resolution saying that we're going to do this, send it to the Commissioner of Commerce who regulates insurance, and then they would inform all insurance companies in the state that they must remit to Eveleth. Well, I got far enough to try to call Commerce and got frustrated because I always got voicemails. And then I called our insurance agent and said, hey, are we listed as a community that takes the money in trust? And they didn't know what we were talking about. So it seems that people aren't informed. You believe we are? Okay. So I was trying to figure out from the Department of Commerce if we're on this list, or didn't have the chance to go look at the resolutions, but city attorney thinks we are.
Well, this falls into the category with another property on Hayes Street, and that's been about 2 years, I think, sitting there.
Correct.
And the property
We did have a conversation, Mayor, as well with that property owner. In fact, today, that party did come into City Hall and filled out a zoning permit. He claims he's going to remove the roof and replace it and repair the inside of that building.
And I talked to Tony, your zoning administrator, and that property is tax delinquent, Tony?
Mr. Mayor, Council, Tony Jeffries, the zoning administrator. The property at 524 Hayes does appear to be tax delinquent for the years 12 and 13.
Okay, that's, well, I know we all have our own thoughts on there, but those 2 properties, I think are a safety, health issue, and they're beginning to be an economic hardship on the neighbors. And my thoughts are, I don't know what everybody's plans are, but I'd like to have the council authorize the city administrator, go to the IRRB, seek demolition funds, and whatever the shortfall would be, that we seek the remainder out of the responsible parties for those properties and get them down. It's getting to be a laughing stock, playing these mind games, now a building permit. I hope they're fixing it up before the backhoe comes there. That's all I got to say. But I'd like the council's support on that issue. Get the demo money, and we'll take our chances. If we get sued, we get sued.
I definitely agree. We need to do everything we can do. This is a public health and safety issue. It's not only an issue for the neighbors, it's for the entire community.
Well, you got school right
Plus,
across.
you got a blight issue.
Yes, yeah, it goes beyond the blight. That's why I'm really concerned. I'd like to call for a motion that we authorize the city administrator and the chief of police to Jack to seek funds, and Tim to pursue getting that properties down as soon as we get the funding to get them down.
I'll move.
Okay. Motion made by Lillis, do I have support?
Support.
Support by Peterson. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, you should know that that's where I grew up.
I
There
know,
might be things of mine inside that building, so you should-
I'm waiting for a tear to come down your
I've got some
cheek
old
there.
baseball cards that went back many years that are in that basement.
Mayor and council, I just want the clarification. Do you want me to continue on the process? A blight complaint has already been started for the vacated structure burned on Hayes Street. Would you also like me to start one as well on the Jones as well?
I guess so, because they are blighted properties, but they go beyond the definition of blight.
Yeah, I think we need to start the process.
Yeah.
We can always stop the process at any juncture.
If they come up with money to demo the property on the Jones Street, and that's fine, and that'll go down, but on the Hay Street, if they start rebuilding before
They better make
we
some
get the
quick
demo
moves,
money,
yeah.
then that's fine too,
Okay.
but I
It's
think
been
we
a
gotta
long
start,
time.
we gotta start moving. We've been more than compliant and agreeable. It's getting to the point the neighbors are getting upset, and I don't blame them. Any further discussion? You made the support that.
Yes, I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, consider approving change order number 1 from Lency Enterprises Incorporated in the amount of $1,737 for auditorium renovation Phase 2 project. What is that for, Mike? Yeah.
Change order number 1 was for furnishing paint for the interior of the auditorium and the lobby. And if you recall, the city did get a grant from Bellspar, about 100 gallons of paint, if I recall, and they were stored in the garage up at the HRA. And when the contractor opened the cans of paint, it looked like it had frozen or the paint had segregated and it was not usable. So in this case, we had to get a price from the contractor to furnish the paint. And as you can see, it didn't only take 55 gallons as opposed to the 104 original, so it did help keep the cost down.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve change order number 1 for the auditorium project?
I'll move.
Motion made by Hadrava, do I have a support? Support. You support that, Joe?
Yes.
Support by Koivunen, any further discussion?
I'm just wondering if the granting agency of that paint should be, notified about that, and perhaps they could assist.
Already been notified.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. Item number 6, consider approving change order number 2 from Lency in the amount of $2,640 for renovation Phase 2 of the auditorium project. And what is that one for, Mike?
Okay, this is for the 20 light fixtures that are being installed in the main auditorium did not have a required IC rating. That means that they're capable of being installed directly underneath the insulation in the attic. So the two options were either change to a different fixture or build a little drywall or gypsum box around each light. That meets the standard. And the architect did look at the two options. This was the least costly option, just to build a gypsum box around it, keep the original fixtures that were requested.
Can I have a motion to approve change order number 2 on the auditorium project for $2,640?
So moved.
Motion made by Peterson, do I have a support?
I'll support.
Support by Hadrava, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 7, pay request from Lency Enterprises in the amount of $231,303.15 for auditorium renovation Phase 2 project. Have a motion that we approve that payment to Lency?
So moved.
Motion made by Koivunen,
I'll support.
support by Hadrava. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Number 8, pay request number 1 for Masabi Bituminous Incorporated for Hockey Plaza and Library Landscaping. What do we have left to do on the Hockey Plaza?
Actual mural.
The mural, that's,
Yeah, and I have a sample of the murals printed out on 11 by 17 paper in my office. I'm doing a proofread, and it's gonna be great, that's all I can tell you. The paint on the, walls had to gas out for 20 days. That 20 days isn't up until about next week. Our creative guys are making some final touches, and we'll have the vendor output the graphics, and I expect them to be up, in July, before the end of July, and it's gonna be a wonderful thing.
Okay. Have a motion that we pay Masabi Bituminous for the hockey plaza and library landscaping.
So moved.
Motion made by Peterson, do you have support?
I'll support.
Support by Lillis. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We removed item number 9. Tony, the sign ordinance. I guess we're gonna set up a council workshop so everyone can go over that. Maybe you can answer some questions for us, and we'll put it on the next council meeting. So whenever we can get everybody together on that. Item number 10. Letter from Range Radio Control Club Incorporated requesting City Council to declare the first official National Model Aviation Day. But that would be August 16th. You know, that's a very interesting request. You don't see that much anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun thing. Maybe it'll bring more notoriety to that hobby, because they do have a nice field out, it's west of town. You call for a motion. Does anybody have any objection that we declare that National Model Aviation Day, August 14th or 16th?
I'll make that motion. I like that idea.
Yeah, me too. Motion made by Hadrava. Do we got a support?
I'll support it.
Support by Koivunen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Letter from Cruise Eveleth Car Show, August 22nd, 2014. Eveleth Elks Corn Feed and Car Show.
It's exciting to see how large it's grown. over
You know,
the
it's
years.
gone
Oh, I guess it blew
so
up.
big, I think this year could maybe be bigger.
Well, I'll make the motion to, support this in the ways that they're asking here.
It's, yeah, I guess last year it just was out of sight.
That was huge.
Yeah, I'll
Nice.
support it, because it's just gonna get bigger and bigger. Rain or shine, they're here.
Yeah, well, you've got all age groups interested in that.
Yep.
You're gonna make that motion, Joe?
But
Oh, you did?
I'll
Okay.
support it.
Motion made by Peterson, support by Koivunen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, law enforcement service agreement between the city of Eveleth and the city of Leonidas. Chief, you wanna enlighten us a little bit there and kind of the history here?
Mayor and council, a couple months ago, the council of the city of Leonidas had approached me in reference to taking over law enforcement services for them. They are currently under St. Louis County's law enforcement. Upon meeting, we clarified some issues. I approached them. We did come up with an agreement between the city of Eveleth and Leonidas, which is in front of us here tonight. I have talked with members of the sheriff's department. They're okay with it. They thought it made good sense for the Eveleth Police Department to take over that jurisdiction. They're right on our borderline. I reviewed the calls for 2013. There were 113 police contacts. That includes traffic stops, et cetera. So it's nothing that we surely cannot handle here. So I'm all in favor of it. My guys are a little bit excited, so I'm looking forward to that if the council so approves.
I think because of the mutual aid with the county, we responded first out there anyway, didn't we, for any calls?
Absolutely, and normally any call that we get, we respond out there. A lot of times we wait for the county to actually come out and handle the call. And nothing would change now. We would respond out there, and the county would still respond if need be, but we're out there so quick.
Okay,
Chief, I would assume our prosecution costs in the past, we've absorbed the cost for prosecutions for arrests made in that locality in any event, correct?
Correct, and we just did discuss that, and nothing's really gonna change, right?
Okay.
we have a motion that we approve the service agreement between the city of Eveleth and the city of Leonidas for law enforcement services.
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Lillis, support by Hadrava. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 13, change the start time of the August 5th regular city council meeting, and that would be because of the National Night Out. Anybody have any preference for a time on that day?
Doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, I think it's listed on here at 4, or you want to get some other?
Well, four is fine, if everybody's, in agreement with that, we should be out of here by then.
Unless it's raining or snowing.
So everybody's 4 PM, then everybody's happy with that? And that'll be posted, Jackie, then that's okay. Ask for a motion that we change the start time of the regular August city council meeting to 4 PM.
So moved.
Motion made by Peterson, do we have a support?
Support.
Support by Koivunen, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Resolution number 14, accepting donation for golf course improvements in the amount of $160 from the Eveleth Women's Golf Club. Can I have a motion that we accept that donation?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Koivunen, support by Hadrav, and I'd just like to thank them. It's nice to see these donations.
Yes.
Lately, we've been getting quite a few for different city activities. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 15, resolution accepting donation for movies in the park in an amount of $300 from Benchmark Engineering. Eric, you can thank the crew for us over there.
Yeah, we'll certainly do that. Yep.
And Rodney?
I'll thank them, and I'll definitely support this and make the move that we support this.
I'll support.
Motion made by Drava, support by Peterson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 16. Resolution accepting donation for the library. The home is the range book from Margot Newman Madrinich, and that will be at the library for everyone to see. Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Peterson, and we
I'd
have
like to
some
thank her.
support and a letter of thanks. Yes.
Yeah, I'll support it, and it is our library's 100th birthday, and I encourage everybody to visit it this week. There's a lot of different stuff going on all week. With that being said,
The turnout was fantastic up there today. It was unbelievable. It was almost beyond the capacity of the building. There's so many. Okay, you made the motion, Beth. Who seconded? You, Brad?
I did, yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 17, resolution appointing judges of election for federal, state, county, city, and general elections, primary and general elections. I have a motion that we accept the list of election judges for the 2014 elections.
I will so move with my thanks to each and every one of them.
Motion made by Lillis, there's support.
I'll support.
Support by Koivunen. Any further discussion? It's tough to get people to serve on these things. It's nice to see, you get a lot of the repeat people on there.
Say, Jackie, will you also be looking for student ambassador for election judges this year?
That question over to Ms. Creedy. Sure, they can apply if they are over 16 and they can.
You can even get out of school if it's okay with your parents and with the school. And you'll also be paid.
It's a great civic lesson for.
It is, really. It is very good. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any council presentations or committee reports? Anything exciting going on?
Well, I just wanted to mention again the 100th anniversary of the library. I think they have music tomorrow at 1 and on Thursday at 1, and then they have an open house on Friday from 10 to 12?
10 to
12
2.
10 to 2, thank you, 10 to 2. You won't be able to check books out on Friday, but you'll be able to take the time to look at all of the historical documents. It was a really great event put together by the committee for this. The other thing I'd like to mention, several citizens have contacted me about a blog post by Rose Eveleth in the Atlantic from New York City, and they contacted her as well, and there's been so much response to this blog post about our community and how homey it is, and some of the comments she made there, that she has written back that she's tentatively planning to come to Eveleth next year for the 4th of July. So hopefully we can welcome her with open arms and show her what we love about our community here in town.
It's interesting how far the I don't want to say tentacles, but I mean, the roots go out there, people you know have some connection. It's really strange. The amount of traveling I did, you run into somebody who's related to somebody from up here, you'd never guess it.
But I'm just glad citizens contacted her to really reach out about this.
Anyone else have anything to bring up? Brian, do you have anything to?
Well, I just kind of expand a little bit on
Go ahead.
what Councilor Peterson was saying. This is a book that's currently available at the public library, and this is a very good book on the history of our library, a 100-year landmark that's pretty phenomenal. And I'd just like to thank all the folks that put all the work and all the hours and effort into doing the book, as well as organizing the 100-year celebration, from the library board to the staff members and so forth. Greatly appreciated. As the mayor said, the turnout was spectacular today. It was there was a great number of people, a lot of people that were coming back because that was their roots in their childhood, and quite a thing to see. So quite a historical thing, and just want to thank everyone that made that possible.
You know, the library's always been a real important part of the community. See, when I grew up, there was no internet, anything else. If you wanted to know something, you went to the library and there's someone there who would help you find out what it is, the answer. But, you know, that was your only resource. And, you know, it was a very good one, and because that library's been kept up to date. And the thing, when you drive by and look at those pictures, it's changed very little from the original. I think that's kind of the exciting thing about it. And that's kind of the auditorium project too, try to keep it as close to original, these historic buildings, because they're going away fast. Anyone from the staff? Chief, do you have anything to add?
We have the 4th of July weekend coming up. We have the street dance Thursday night and the parade on Friday, which is I see a lot of people already rolling into town. The staff at the police department would just like to wish everybody be careful and have a very safe and happy 4th of July weekend.
Mike, do you have anything to add? I suppose you're going on vacation now.
Yes, you got it. Next week. I just wanted to update you on, we talked a little bit at a previous meeting about our powder activated carbon pilot project we're going to be doing at the water plant this year. And again, this is to address the taste and odor issues that during the past few summers. And over the past several weeks, Public Works personnel have been working on the structure and getting the equipment in place. We hope to have it up and running next week. At the request of the Minnesota Department of Health, we had to seek their permission in order to do this pilot. They've requested that we get members of the community that had a taste and odor issue in the past to kind of work with us, maybe fill out some paperwork telling us how effective they think this process is. So I have gotten a number of people from the town of Vale that we serve that are interested in serving on this, but only one Eveleth resident so far. So anybody not affiliated with the city in Eveleth or in West Eveleth, still looking for a few more people that would be interested in giving us some feedback. So if you're interested, please, if you know of somebody, have them give me a call.
When did that problem start occurring last year?
Early July. We would
July,
expect
okay.
before too long it will, and that's why we want to be online. We have the product on site, and we've just got to run a couple water lines, and electrical contractor needs to finish up with electrical work, and we should be ready to go. We think the city engineer and their consulting engineer hopefully get together next week and do the startup. And hopefully it's going to work as well as we think it will. So again, if you know anybody that's interested in giving us some feedback, sure appreciate it.
Eric, do you have anything to add?
Just one thing. Tomorrow morning at 7:30, bright and early, we're going to have a pre-construction meeting here at City Hall regarding the two projects for this year, the 2014 Street and Alley Improvements Project and the Hayes Street Project. So we'll find out a little bit more what sort of timeline the contractors are looking at, and be able to update you. Mike will be at the meeting. I'll be able to update you with a email or something like that. We know a timeline from them. So any other questions, I can certainly answer.
Okay, we're anxious to see those projects get underway.
Yes, yeah.
Jackie, you have anything to add?
I do. Greg, can you go to the overhead? Please. It is just a reminder that the Eveleth Fire Department Relief Association is having a pancake breakfast, July 4th, 7 to 11 a.m. It's the first annual, so it's the beginning of a long tradition, and it's pretty good eating, pretty good prices. Adults are $7, children 4 to 12 are $4, and 3 and under is free. They're looking forward to seeing you there.
I wonder what that does for hangovers, because there's probably gonna be a lot of them that 4th of July morning.
No Bloody Marys.
Well, John, do you have anything to add for tonight?
Just one thing, just to say I'm glad to be back
I'd like
again.
to see you there. It's,
I do want to add, though, about the Potochnik property that you've already addressed, and emphasize that time is of the essence with regard to that. You noticed in her letter, she indicates that the house has been for sale. To allow it to remain in that unsafe condition creates potential liability issues for the city as well as for the owners of that property. And my dad's been dead for a long time, so he doesn't have to worry about it. But, so I think it's important that if the grant money should be sought and obtained, and whatever insurance proceeds can be, to, if not tear the property down, but at least secure it so that it doesn't pose the safety threat that it does now.
you know, stuff happens, what are you gonna do? It's,
Well, they're so close up there.
I know,
If you've been up
that's-
there, those two houses are so close, and if something falls off the one house, it's gonna create a problem.
that's the same issue on Hayes Street too that we have. Yes,
I was just going to say about the safety issue. There's been glass blowing all winter on the sidewalk, the edge. I think I mentioned that.
yes.
Glass all over the place and debris. So it really is very dangerous to walk on that side of the house.
Well, like John said, the proximity, they're all so close. It's a big house. Yeah, the proximity of the houses, they're so close and they're huge structures.
For those that probably don't know the history, both of those houses at one time were part of the school district. The house that I grew up in used to be many years ago, was the home ec department. 100 years ago. And that house is probably at least 1912, I think it was built in that ballpark. And the house next door was also part of it. So then it became the superintendent's house for a while. Some of you might recall Superintendent Van Putten, his son played hockey here in Eveleth, graduated with me. They lived there until we moved in. And then we brought the house downhill from that point on.
Does anyone from the audience have anything to address the council on or question on anything? Yes, please, come on, step up to the mic, we can hear you.
Thanks. Please excuse my tardiness, I was coming up from Duluth and a lot of traffic. And one of those people actually do the 65 thing, which slows a lot of people down. I live on 710 Park Avenue, and your number one thing that you guys addressed, so I apologize for you guys readdressing this. The amount that I was given for my assessment, I don't know how they came up with the number, it really isn't the important part. The important part is the fact that I'm on Social Security, disability. I have 2 kids that are down at the main U. In 30 days, you go up to $1,200, I might as well be $1 million. I have the same way of getting it. And I know that you can also put it over 20 years. And my question was, I don't want to take 20 years to pay a $1,200 debt. I also can't come up with it in 30 days. And as I said, I know you probably had already addressed it, but if I could just take a moment of your time and just have you just repeat it as opposed to.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So what we will do is send out an invoice for the entire amount, and you have 30 days to pay it in full, and you don't plan to pay it, and that's okay. So at the end of November, I'll certify it to the county, to the property taxes, with a letter that says, please certify over 20 years at 3.5%. But let's say some year you get a property tax refund or an income tax refund and you want to pay it off. The law says that you can come in here to City Hall and you can pay it off with me, and then I'll let the county know.
Okay, and then when I pay it off, whatever the amount is it the 1,200 at 3 point whatever percent over 20 years? Or do I pay it off and whatever that amount is at that moment, that's what I pay off?
So interestingly, the deputy clerk and I spent lots of time trying to figure out how the county calculates interest, and they just do it different than we do. But I'm going to say that you shouldn't, the interest shouldn't attach until the property tax statement is printed, okay? So when you pay it off, you'll be paying off the interest that is accrued to that point, and then in my view of the world, you shouldn't be paying interest when you've paid something off early.
So let's say that I have $1,200 in November.
Yep.
Do I pay that amount, or is that the 3.5% has already been attached to it?
It's already been attached to it. So I'm going to tell them on your parcel to certify $1,200 plus 3.5% and do it over 20 years. So they're going to do a calculation and figure out what 20 years worth of payments is at 3.5%.
I guess what I wanted to say was, I'm not gonna have it in 30 days.
Yep,
But
correct.
let's say that, you know, in November, I would have the $1,200. Does a 3.5% take place then, or does it take place the moment that the tax slip that you send down is?
I would say probably next year, wouldn't it?
Well,
2015 tax
I'm
years.
telling you, if you come in before we
Assessed.
send it to the county, you know, our goal here isn't to make money off of you.
No, of
It's to
course
pay
not,
it, so.
but I also
Right.
believe that, you know, in being fair.
Right.
And the fair, according to the piece of paper, says you either have 30 days, or
We certify it, correct.
you have this plus 3.5%.
Right. I'd have to go look at the statute to see when the percentage attaches. If it attaches after 30 days is up, or if it doesn't attach until I certify it.
All right, so you.
I can call you. I can call you with that answer.
Oh, well, when I come in, you would just tell me how much it was. and
Yes,
I would
that'd be
just
fine.
do it.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time, appreciate it.
You have any other questions or things about the project, or?
It was approved, so what, you know, what's going on, it doesn't really matter.
I'm in this, I feel your pain, I'm in the same boat.
You know,
I have property on-
I don't understand what it's about, and I don't need to
Oh,
understand
yeah.
what it's about. What I do know is that I am a, you know, property owner, and this is what was agreed upon. We were part of a democratic system that it was approved. The rest of it, the who's and whys, it doesn't matter. That's what my assessment is, that's what I, you know, I'm not here to fight, I just need to make sure that I don't need to cover it over 20 years, but at the same point, in 30 days, it's never gonna happen.
Right.
But there has to be a middle ground between the two.
Yeah, there is. If you got any questions, you think of something later, just give us a call.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for coming. Anyone else have anything to bring up to the council? If not, I'll adjourn the meeting.